A lot of people ask me, how do you get started to make a violin? Stay tuned and today I explain you. Hello, back again. This is Edgar from Cremona, Italy, and I do nothing else than building great sounding instruments. We're here in another episode of how to build a violin. Now, the best thing if you want to make something is that you have something already, like here a violin, and you say, hey, I want to make a violin. So you take it, you study it, and you say, this is something I would make. But if you now don't have a violin, then very likely you would actually need a book, a picture or something. Nowadays, quite easy with the internet, but there is one
tiny part which makes it very interesting and delicate.
And this is all about Guarneri and Stradivari measurement. Because you don't know how long is it? How big do you have to make it? Some people make super nice instruments and then you look at them, they come here, they show me their instrument and what they made, and you look at it and something is strange and you don't understand what's wrong with this whole thing. And then when I start measuring, I discover that the scroll is too small, the F holes are on the wrong position, the body is too long, too short, too wide, everything. And this is actually, before getting started, one of the major issues. Now we have decided that we will make a Cremonese for our imaginary customer, this woman in the first episode, right? And this will be now our Cremonese. Okay, Cremonese. I have already the mold and everything, but let's make one step back. We take this one. This one I made with a specific mold. This is a model which is the Stradivari Hellier. It's the decorated Stradivari. I even made some videos about the decorated Stradivari. And there are some books around, and even on the internet you will find some nice pictures of this decorated Stradivari. It looks a little bit like this with these double purfling with all these inlay on the sides. And along the ribs there are these decorations with flowers and birds and happy life and spring. A violin, a full-size violin, has a body length. How often I'm using this measurement, I didn't even think about it. Glad there are so many versions of it out there, so you can... Full-size violins are measured, the body length, 35.5. Apparently, just a measurement, throw it there, Edgar, and the universe will be happy that I'm so generous, right? There's a tiny detail. At the finished violin, like this one here, for instance, all violins out there in the world, same problem. You cannot measure precisely because here on the back side, you cannot measure where the theory is in the middle. So you have to go on one side, okay? And on the top side, you have the neck here and then the bridge. So you don't reach. So you have to make like, it doesn't really. So here on this side, you never measure a full-size instrument. You always measure on the back side, on the right side of the notch here. There you start to measure, okay? Having said that, we go back to our picture of the book computer and we print it out exactly with the same size. Again, we measure on the side of this notch here and then we go parallel. We don't go to the longest, but we go parallel down. And this should be 35.5 centimeter. So now, even if you are now here on the inch side, forget the inch. With inch, it's too complicated. Oh, here it's exactly 11 inch. Incredible. First time the inch matches to a full number. Usually there's always these fractions, which I'm not good in. So it's 35.5 centimeter. This is now the outline of the instrument. To build an instrument, we have to make an inner form like this one here Stradivari Hellier. And to make this inner form, you have to consider that this inner form at the finished instrument, you can never measure it. So you have already a different measurement. And this means the measurement of this is an old piece of ribs, the ribs all around, plus the edge of what's overlapping from top and back over the ribs. And then you come to the 35.5. Small detail, which is still a kind of a problem. If you make it like this, You even made a mistake because by measuring, we usually measure a picture flat, and here we have the arching. Now you would say, it doesn't really influence too much. It influences. And you can only measure over the arching. You don't have a caliper which is so big to measure a full-size instrument, and this is out of daily life. So we imitate here that we take this, it's aluminum and we glued on the photocopy, okay? We try to take it and we say, this is our height of the arching, yeah? And then we measure here with this great measurement. And we measure from here with a knife on top is imitating the arching. And then we come at almost 3 millimeters longer, okay? Almost. So that means you have to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, now since I made this instrument several times already, I made already the hard way. So this one is nothing else than from this photocopy, the inside mold. I attach a photocopy of the aluminum and then I take away almost 4 millimeters on each side. Okay, and I make it that the length of this inner mold is measured not in the middle but a little bit on the side, 34.7. 3 plus 5 is 8 millimeters, 4 here, 4 here, okay? And with this one I made this inner mold, and with this inner mold I made my ribs of this violin, and everything turned out to be correct. And then I got a violin which is 35.5. Yeah, you can even here double check and it all works out. This is the whole secret, and this is also the secret why you find so many instruments with a little bit different sizes. In any case, if you are already getting familiar with the idea to build your own instrument, then there is only one way. Sign up to my Violin Making Academy. There you get it all. And if you just watch 2 videos a week and you put it into reality, after 1 year, you have your own made instrument, which sounds pretty good. So lots of numbers to come to the conclusion that you have 2 main reasons that people make mistakes before they get actually started to make an instrument. First, that you only can measure not in the middle, but beside on the back of the knot here on the upper side, parallel to the center line. And the second is the arching, which makes the whole thing a little bit longer if you measure over the arching, yeah? And this makes it that a lot of instruments are being born that the makers want to make it correct, but then at the very end, they always pop out their instruments too long. Now, a too long body, apparently people believe that this creates a great sound. Yeah, not so correct, because on a violin it even gives you, similar like on a cello, a deeper G string if the body is not too long. It's better to have it 35.4 than 35.7 or 8, okay? So 35.5 is the standard measurement, measured over the arching and beside the upper part here, since you cannot measure in the middle. And this is the point where it all comes to, okay? On an inner mold, like here I'm going to make the high frets, Guarnieri. On an inner mold, if you make a copy and you even want to have your ribs not square and everything, and you want it more authentic, old vintage looking, then the measurement from the inside is of course actually completely the same as if it would be an inner mold, but then here we have it, let's say here on this side, measured like this, yeah, and then it is 34.65 here in this case, which is standard. 34.7 almost is actually a good measurement for the ribs, something which you actually at the finished instrument you cannot measure. It's just a tip in case you're going to build them in mold like this. Next time I show you how I bend the ribs and how I do the whole ribs, probably while I'm making here the Cremonese, which I am also making here. I have already chosen here for the Cremonese even a nice bag, and this really will be a super nice Cremonese, yeah? So I would say, see you next time when we're bending the ribs of the Cremonese. Tell your friends, the more we are, the better we become. See you soon. Ciao, ciao.